So for our trip to DC, we left at the Birmingham Shuttlesworth Airport and we flew with American Airlines, as you can see in this short clip. We stayed at the Hilton at the National Mall in DC. And then here's some footage of the lobby as well as footage of the room that I stayed in my first night in DC by myself. And I had to pay for this first night, but I was also reimbursed for it by the University of Alabama. When I initially got this room, I was upgraded to a city view, which paid off later this first night. I also got some footage of the workout area of the hotel, and then I walked towards the MLK Monument. Here's the Spy Museum by the hotel and the Benjamin Banneker Park. On the way to the MLK Monument, I passed this Thomas Jefferson Memorial. And then there were some quotes along the walls near the MLK Monument. Then I decided to stop by the Lincoln Memorial, where I got some pictures and videos of the memorial, along with the World War II monument and the Washington Monument in the background. So the City View upgrade paid off because I got to see the Mardi Gras fireworks at the end. It was cold outside and I didn't want to stay any longer. And luckily I heard the fireworks peeped outside and got to enjoy a great fireworks show. So the next morning I checked into the hotel for me and one of my classmates. This room was paid for by the program and I did not have to spend any of my own cash on this. So we also got a pool view, and our mini fridge was a little chilly, but it wasn't really cold, but it worked good enough for the water that we had. I also decided to explore the shopping plaza that was in the underground level of our hotel. And this is just some short footage, but there were some food spots. Another classmate and I decided to stop by the Georgetown area where we got to see the school and some of this artwork. And then we also went to the Smithsonian Museum and passed by this federal building on the way there. Before the museum, we also stopped by this old stone house. I don't really know much about it, but my classmate wanted to stop here on the way to the museum. Not much was done after that, but this was day 3, and we decided to grab some breakfast before we started our day. So our program set up a tour of the U.S. Capitol. So we got to see a lot of artwork, and we also had a tour guide that gave us a little bit of information about the U.S. Capitol. And now for the exciting part, we decided to eat at Old Ebbitt Grill. And one of my classmates and I went over to the National Museum of African American Culture. I believe that's what it's called. I probably butchered that name. But this museum was amazing. If you have not been here, I highly recommend that you attend it or at least look up a video on YouTube. But this museum is just a 10 out of 10. I didn't get a chance to try the soul food cafe that was in this museum, but I will try to go back to DC one day, and I will most definitely be eating the food in this museum, as well as taking my time on the 4th floor because I had limited amount of time due to it closing. I did spend about an hour and a half to about 2 hours in this museum, and it was well worth it. So if you can, please stop by this museum. So the last thing we did was we had this restaurant called Zaytinya, and honestly, the program spent about $3,300 on a 15-course meal for everybody who attended. And if you want to pause and look at this list of all the food, it is listed in order, and it came out in groups. We also had a wine tasting to go along with it. I didn't get any videos of the wine, but it was interesting just to get a overall taste since I'm not much of a drinker anyway. So the next day was day 1 of the conference that we were attending in DC. We didn't get to do much with the conference this day because we went to the White House and we had a tour of the White House this morning, and I have a few pictures and a few videos to show you guys of what we could capture while we were at the White House. So we returned back to the hotel and had a quick lunch on behalf of the conference. And then we went to some state legislators' offices to speak with some of their delegates about rural health in Alabama specifically. But I couldn't get any of those videos, so I just got some pictures and videos of the buildings that we were in, some of the artwork and the architecture. Returned back to the hotel for a quick dinner and a nice mocktail that I picked out. Here's a little video of the restaurant in the lobby of the hotel. And then we got an exclusive night tour of the White House. We couldn't take many of the pictures like of the Oval Office. Our phones are actually taken up, but we got some of these short clips of the outside and this room where there is a lot of videos that are recorded at the White House. The Eisenhower Executive Office Building, and this is where our tour guide's office was located. So I got some footage of the outside of the building and a little bit of the architecture and some pictures on the inside of the building before we headed back to the hotel to rest. So the next day was day 2 of the conference, and this was very exhausting because we attended state legislators' offices again, and I was trying not to fall asleep because we definitely attended my representative from my region, Gary Palmer, and I also went to the Library of Congress, which is right here. Now, this kept me awake because I actually had been wanting to see the Library of Congress, especially since it's talked about a lot on social media. Wasn't really allowed to sit down and actually read anything, but I was able to get a quick little video of that part of the library, which we were not allowed in that long. So I only stayed in here maybe 30 minutes to an hour, but I really love the art and the architecture of this building as well. So then we grabbed lunch, which I had the quesadilla, and we went back to the U.S. Capitol to look into like the House of Representatives and Senate rooms, but we only got to go into one of them, which we could not record because there was a debate going on at the time. But I got these statues, and we ate dinner later to celebrate one of our classmates' birthdays, which is on Valentine's Day. And here's a homemade soda that I got and a salad. So the last day of the conference was actually a half day, and I got to attend 2 short discussions about different aspects of rural health. And this was the closing ceremony, and I got a picture by the sign, which I felt very much official. After that, we got some lunch where I got this pizza, and then one of my professors took me and a classmate out to get something to eat at this nice restaurant, which I got this lavender lemonade mocktail that was really good. And then, of course, I got me a little bathroom selfie under this red light. Then my classmate and I decided to go back to Old Ebbitt Grill with another classmate who wanted to eat here, and I got this apple mocktail, and I got to try raw oysters for the first time.
Do I need to put like cocktail sauce on it?
I don't know. It's this one, right? I just want to make sure. Okay. And you just do it this way?
Yep.
Okay, y'all, look at this. I'm scared. I'm so scared.
She like it.
Not bad, huh?
It's just salty.
I figured no was about.
And then we decided to go out to another bar and grab one little drink before we went back to our rooms and before we flew out the next morning back to Alabama. So the next morning, more of us went back to du jour, and I got me bacon, cinnamon roll, and strawberry lemonade before we went out to our flight here. And I wanted to show y'all this nice footage of DC as we were taking off. You can see the monument, like the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Monument, the U.S. Capitol, and the White House from this view of the airplane, y'all. This was so beautiful. And I didn't have my footage of us landing in Alabama, but I really wanted y'all to see this. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you enjoy.